Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to another Friday with Dannphan, and please welcome our guest Cody from Jack Irons, the Steel Cowboy. Yes, that's it.
Yes,
How you
howdy,
doing?
howdy, folks. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Thank you so very much for having me.
Oh man, you have a way better background than I have. I'm like in a. Actually, I don't even have my camera on. There we go. I've got like the crappiest background set up here. I just have like a bunch of posters and random stuff way too far away from me.
Oh,
You've
you
got
work with
some
what you got.
nice comics up there. Ugh. So chat is coming in. Yeah, every now and again, there's like a delay just because YouTube hardly ever recommends my live streams these days in the recommended. It's mostly because I stopped live streaming regularly for a while. So, once you stop a consistent schedule, it just like pops you out of the algorithm.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
Well, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh I guess we'll be talking about Jack Irons for a bit. Let's put this up on the bam.
Oh,
Here you
look at
are.
that. Look at that.
Not doing so bad so far, I say.
No, we're getting there. We're literally like on track, right? We're just a little bit behind. I'd like to hit 33% today would be nice because then we're about third of the way through the campaign and third of the way funded. That would be nice. That'd be the goal. But most of our campaigns have been interesting, kind of slow burns. So I've been prepared for this
I mean,
for a
that's
bit.
usually how it is, especially
Yes.
when you do like multiple issues of something. You got to kind of expect like some viewership to drop.
Yep. Yep.
But now you're on issue 4, right? And you're concluding all of the issues in this campaign, so new readers can hop on, which is great.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to make sure there's a lot of different ways you can hop on Ironverse Comics. You can head to the website ironversecomics.com, check out issue number 1 for free. Just there to see if what we're doing is for you. A lot of what we're doing is kind of esoteric, so it can be hard to communicate in the time periods that we had. It's best to engage the work, but I'll do my best to sell it to you this go. But I think that's the best place to go and kind of check it out, and all of our links, all that stuff are on that website. So if you're curious on what we're doing, and I don't 100% sell you, but I get you intrigued, then you can go ahead and dive in for free if you'd like.
Yeah, and speaking of new readers, do you want to give your pitch to everyone?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, Jack Iron Steel Cowboy, I have a one-line kind of elevator pitch. It's kind of general, but it's a reincarnated immortal wanders through galactic Armageddon seeking freedom and purpose. So it's a lot of big terms. I'm hoping to engage imaginations with that because, again, our works quite a bit deeper than perhaps the surface level will communicate. And I don't want folks to be misled thinking that, oh, I'm picking up just another like science fiction action comic or something. It's not quite that. It's not quite that. It's more of a philosophical thought piece with a lot of, it's got action, it's got science fiction tropes, it's got these wonderful things. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to engage and maybe bring light to quite a few little heavy darknesses.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll be honest, I heard the title and immediately all I could think was, oh, cyborg cowboy, boom, boom.
Exactly. See, that's a bit. That's a bit. And you know what? I love that it's a hook. I love that engages folks. And I don't think we are dishonest with that. But I think folks, once they get into it, they'll see really what we're doing, and hopefully they'll enjoy what we're doing. And it's a nice subversion of those expectations of you open the candy wrapper and it's a little bit different than what the wrapper was telling you.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of comics out there where it's like you have the action story on the outside, but once you start like analyzing it and picking it apart, you realize there are undertones.
Yes, very much. And that's very much how we operate.
All right, awesome. So let's, I guess, go over the tiers. You got the first one, which is the new issue. I'm assuming picking up the story from the last issue. And then you
Yes,
got the
indeed.
digital option, issue 1, digital bundle where you get all 4 issues.
Yes, indeed. Plus so Ironverse Comics itself is an imprint. Right now we have 3 titles in active production and about 6 in overall production, different phases. And so we got a lot of meat to explore with what we're doing in Galactic Armageddon, and we absolutely need your folks' help to help us face it. That's been kind of my tagline with this one. The overall bit is, if there's a way for you folks to dive in, I've tried my best to provide it through these tiers and make it as financially viable as possible, all the way down from free to if you want to really help us out, there's options for that as well.
Yeah, right. I mean, with the crazy economy, it's important to try to make everything affordable.
Yes, and I mean that international shipping is always a killer for crowdfunded campaigns. It really is, and so I do apologize.
I don't even bother with it anymore.
There you go. There you go.
I feel like if you're going to do international shipping by yourself, you've got to make it something special. Like you can't just do it for everything,
Yes. Yeah, no, it's been tough. Since the beginning, we've offered international shipping a few times. We probably shouldn't have, but we bit the bullet to make sure that the folks who helped us make the work got the work. We've never failed on that end, and it's been a wonderful experience diving into comics. I dove in head first without any knowledge of what I was doing. I've been working on Jack as a concept, and what really the story came from for about 16 years at this point, but really working with an artist and working with a team and being in comics for about 7. And Jack itself started reaching folks' hands physically about 4 years ago. And we've been treading hard, working hard, and hitting the road as often as we can to get this done. Crowdfunded can't usually compete in schedule wise with what a lot of comic fans expect. But we've been able to deliver about an issue a year so far, and we're trying to keep that on track.
Well, that's great. It's good to have some form of consistency in general.
Yes.
So what do you think would be your list of inspirations that you pulled from to make Jack Irons?
Okay, so that's a good one, and there's so many. One of the reviews of I believe our second issue was Mr. Fernandez used a shotgun when he should have used a sniper rifle, but he nonetheless hit his target. So that should kind of tell you how many different things it was. It's definitely a genre blend. It's a post-apocalyptic science fiction fantasy western. So there's a lot of different flavors and feelings to it. But I tried very hard, and I know the artistic team has tried very hard to when we're using those genre tropes, those feelings, those emotions, we're trying to communicate something very specific. So you will notice when a Western trope is specifically used, and hopefully you'll understand why. Same with the science fiction tropes, our fantasy tropes, and of course the post-apocalyptic tropes. And really, it's a very heady mix, but I think it's something you will not find anywhere else. Nobody else is crazy enough to do this than our team.
Sure. I will say the art is quite awesome. I can tell that they're putting 110% into everything.
Yes, indeed. I've been blessed to find these folks and work with them, and they stuck with me for whatever reason. So I'm happy to keep at it. This is planned, and we do 3 issue arcs. So we did just finish the first arc, our origin arc between issues 1 through 3. Issue 4 starts the second arc, where we're taking more of less of a kind of discussion kind of tone and more of a adventure-y tone with issue number 4 as we dive into the first of the 4 Horsemen's territories and figure out why Jack was kind of almost lured there by an old friend in issue 3. And I'm excited. I've been sitting on the script for a long time, and once I started getting pages in from our wonderful Argentinian line artist Maxi Dallo, man, it blew me away again. I love the creation process for comics is by far my favorite. I love getting the thing in. I love talking to folks like yourself and your wonderful chat, but really it's the fulfillment of seeing that crazy idea actually have some kind of physical manifestation. And when it can be this, in my opinion, this cool, it just blows me away every dang time.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes forget how much time gets put into comics just because
Yes.
I feel like maybe some of them have been spoiled by the manga industry having this crazy, chaotic but efficient method of getting stuff out there. And people forget that, if you want something made right, especially if you're going to someone indie, it's going to take a while. And the
Yes.
end product is going to be hopefully worth it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We pay attention to that, understand that. With every step, again, I've only been able to. I'm just some, I'm no longer a kid. I still call myself a kid, but I'm some kid from the southern, the northern New Mexico, the Southern Rockies, just some mountain town out there, and it wasn't something that I could have done without folks, lending their effort, their time to listen to me and to see what we're doing, and it's been an incredible journey that folks have allowed us to take, and an excellent education for myself in every aspect of the comic book industry. Now I could say that after delivering about three issues and a few other projects and working on quite a few different aspects of comic creation, that I've got a pretty decent hang of it, and I couldn't have done it alone.
Yeah, I do love looking at these black and white pieces. I feel like black and white art just doesn't get enough love these days.
Oh, not at all. And the amount of so Maxi works about 95 to 98% traditionally. So that is you're looking at ink on paper, and that's there's a certain feel to that you don't get with digital. But there's also a certain cost to that. So it's and a certain risk too. But it gets that dirty kind of. I don't know. He's evolved. His art style's evolved so much since issue 1. Every issue, of course, especially since there's time in between and other projects that he works on in between. As an artist and as a relatively young artist, he's continued to evolve every time. He just delivers better and better. He gets a better idea of what he wants his style to do. He gets a better idea of how he wants to communicate the concepts and themes that we're trying to. For instance, this issue, since we're diving into almost an extra dimensional kind of area, he's been working hard to communicate that through heavier inks, grimier inks. You can feel the weight of this different part of the world. And man, I'm so excited to see the issue finished.
Yeah, I could definitely see some evolving as far as the art style goes, getting more cleaner, more crisp. So that's great. I
Yeah.
always love seeing artists get better at their craft too. Yeah. So, bam. That is Jack Irons the Steel Cowboy, folks. Actually, you
Yes.
have a trailer?
I do. If you want to listen and watch that, it's not professional. I just picked up video editing maybe a month or two ago. So but it works. It works. And it's with music by basically my oldest friend in the world, Laguna Munta, an independent rocker out of northern New Mexico here. So if folks are interested in independent music and independent rock and roll, please look up Laguna Munta if you like what you're hearing on this trailer. He definitely is going a Western vibe. He's more rock and roll than this, but yeah, it's worth checking out if you would.
Yeah. Is it okay if I play it?
Oh, please do. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
All right, very nice.
Yeah, that gives you some vibes. We've been working with the wonderful Amy Fusco for a little bit, doing those panel animations, and I was mainly for promotional purposes, and I was finally able to utilize them in something more directly like this trailer, and it was a nice culmination of quite a few years of working at this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not like a fan of motion webtoons or anything, but I feel like if you're doing a trailer, that like helps add so much more than just like, scrolling through panels of art. So I love them for
Yeah.
the trailers. And the music was pretty tight, I must say.
Yes, yes, indeed. He did perfect. That was the first tune he did for us a couple years back when I was trying to fund issue number 2, and since then he's done quite a few other tracks for us, and it's good to have friends.
For sure. It definitely does a decent job at capturing the mood,
Yes, indeed.
capturing
Yes,
that
indeed.
cowboy feel.
Yeah, and that's we use the Western trope for that. So anybody's familiar with spaghetti westerns or dime novels, those kind of the dead man's walk. What I wanted to do was put an immortal man on the dead man's walk, and what does that mean, and exploring it out. And so that's why we use the Western tropes. There's a very strong vibe from it. I'm again from the Southwest, so this is kind of my hometown, if it were, as it were, and I'm so happy to share it with the world. And it's a very strong point of pride for me, the community we've fostered and the folks I've met like yourself and your wonderful chat who seems to be vibing with it. And I thank you folks so much for listening to me and giving me a shot. And yeah.
Hell yeah, man. You got to get your stuff out there. You got to keep on
Yeah.
promoting.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
For sure. Should I do the refresh thing?
Oh, you never know. You never know.
You never know.
Never know.
You'll get there.
I think so. I think so. Our last campaign, we hit right before all the craziness hit in about 2019. And so I was kind of like reserved, like, okay, I was just the wrong timing. We got to about 60% funding with 2 days left. I'm just like, okay, it's fine. I'll reassess, redo this later, just breathe and just let the world do what it needs to. And we'll find the right timing again. Then the last 2 days, our fan base goes ahead and just lights itself on fire, wanting this, and we get that last about 4K the final 2 days. And so it's always a wild ride with our campaigns. I try to stay on top of it, keep folks informed and such, because you never really know what's going to happen over here at Ironverse Comics, but usually some kind of magic, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, I hear that all the time, that campaigns end up actually getting to the goal in like the last few days or something. I guess just a surge of people come on, or I don't know.
Some people sleep on it until they realize they can't any longer. There's a lot of those bits. There's also a certain drive when something's about to pass you by, and I think that's always very helpful.
Yeah, that's true. I've also heard like some people, send me messages like, "Oh, I'm gonna donate, but I can't do it right away. I'll have to do it, later in the month or for whatever reason, whatever they're going through."
Exactly. And of course, like again, keep plugging away for the heck of it. IronverseComics.com. You don't have to help us on this campaign. I just want folks to be aware of the work we're doing, because I think it's important and can reach a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And so again, it's free to read issue number 1 on our website, and you can get the digitals for $1 through our Patreon, all 3 of the released issues, alongside the other projects that we've got in the works. And if you do any kind of support and you read our work, please let me know what you think. It's surprisingly hard to find decent criticism or reviews on independent work. It's always surprisingly hard. There's a lot of channels that do it, but there's a lot of just like, this was great, or I liked this, and not so much like, this is why I liked this, or this is what I didn't like about it. But that stuff's super important. It's how we grow and learn. Again, I dove in head first, and I am all for delivering both what I want and what the community has helped us create, and that means listening to anybody who has something to say about it.
Right. I think that also some people are really timid of criticizing an indie's work because they know
Yes.
that, it's harder for them to get their stuff out there. But I
Yes,
mean,
exactly. But I'm always grateful for it, especially if it has justification that I can see. For instance, I've never gotten like a this sucked or whatever. But nonetheless, if it did, please just let me know. Even that, it'd be interesting to hear that. Again, I kind of, it's hard to argue against the artwork and the storytelling via the artwork in our work, but my writing certainly could use tightening and a little bit of I don't know, lubrication, a little bit of ease and fixing here and there. And so it's good to know where it hits and where it doesn't.
Right. I want people to like my comics, but I will also take all and any constructive criticism because I also want them to get better. I don't want to be the only one always criticizing my own comics.
Oh, okay. So Scott K wants me to mention some of the bonus content. So if you do back at the digital tier, any of the digital tiers or the physical, because they all come with digital, you will also be receiving the 16-page introductory ash can to Cactus Coyote alongside a 5-page slightly secret project that I've been teasing over the campaign. So you get basically a whole nother full comic alongside your 4 or your 1 issue. If you're interested in diving deeper into Ironverse, we're providing as much bang for your buck as we physically can and asking what we need to get just issue number 4 done, printed, and shipped out to you.
Ooh, secret project. Where do you find time?
I'm just lucky too. I've got so I work with I work at a doggy daycare. So I spend a good chunk of my time there working with well, it's not just it's a pet resort, as you call it. So work with cats and a couple other critters, but running play groups and things like that. And so that's like where I get my peace of mind and where I find a lot of my fulfillment. So the rest of it is just expression and sharing with the world. And I can always find time for that, and always can find time to work with amazing talents when they resonate with me in a proper way. And so again, we've got quite a few titles in motion. This is a larger universe we're trying to build. Each of our issues of Jack are standalone in that they provide a full arc, but they also, of course, connect and build upon each other. So if you just want to snag issue number 4 and start with the best of our work so far, that's a great choice. If you want to jump in on issue number 1, that's a great choice. And hopefully either option, or however you want to go about it. A lot of folks jump on all 4 lately, and that's incredible and very flattering. That's kind of just an amazing gift to us over here, and allow us to keep doing what we're doing, which hopefully we'll do it absolutely as long as possible, because we got a lot of stories to tell with these characters and this world.
Well, that is great to hear. Good to know you're out there doing your own thing and doing the best that you can with what you got, man.
Yes, indeed. It's the only way to get it done. You work with the tools you got, work towards better tools, and that's kind of the process.
Yeah, right. I'm curious, how did you find out about my channel?
Oh God! So I really try to keep my ear to the ground. Every time I find any comic creator, I will follow, and hopefully it's a mutual. If not, I still follow because I like, especially in the independent scene, I like knowing what's going on. I think independent artistry is the most important and almost often beautiful expression of artistry we can get, unshackled from the mainstream systems, and it's usually a very not perfected, and often quite the opposite of perfected, very much a honest and true voice from the person. And I think we need more of that than ever everywhere. So my assumption is, when I was going through and looking for comic creators, I came across Oh Girl, and I think I found that you had a channel, and I subbed, and I've been kind of watching in the background. And then, of course, I hit this campaign, and I was like, well, I saw that you did at least one other interview a couple weeks ago or so. I was like, well, maybe she'll be interested. If not, at least I tried, right? And I'm so grateful you said yes, and we're actually kind of interested in it. It was definitely shot in the dark from my end. It can be very hard to find places to promote independent work that can actually have some kind of resonance and audience behind it. Again, I've been doing it for years, and I've been on a lot of channels. I've had about 80% positive experiences, so I'm always worried about that 20% creeping back up. But so far in this campaign trail, everybody's been just absolutely incredible, particularly yourself and your chat. So again, thank you so much.
Oh, that's good. It's good to know that you're having at least 80% good experiences.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going on. Comics in particular has a lot of different folks get into it for a lot of different reasons. The ones I always find the best is they have something to say, something to express, or a desire to do it, right. And some folks they see it as an easy buck, and some folks see it as a way to build a platform to best way I put it, oppose mainstream. And it's usually that last bit that can focus a little too much on the negativity for myself, for my tastes, and it becomes definitely a less than pleasurable experience.
Yeah, I definitely have those experiences too on YouTube. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just, it's too much. I need some positive news too.
Yes.
I want you to also
Yes.
talk about things that you like. But, my own experience doing the YouTube thing, I find that people complain about me being too negative sometimes. But then when I put out a positive video, nobody watches it. So,
Exactly. No, I've seen that the algorithms and even the viewers they want to see somebody fired up, and you can get fired up about good things, but it's definitely not only more difficult, but sometimes that communication's just not as clear as when you're fired up about something that somebody else likely resonates with in terms of like they don't like it either. So yeah, I mean, I think that's just human nature, and it's just something we have to try and balance and work with, because yeah, view counts matter, no question. You want to survive, you want to do your work, you want to keep your platform growing, but at the same time, you gotta take care of yourself, and that's where I come from it, is that I basically never really, like on my own channel, again, Ironverse Comics, if folks are interested to check out what I do, there I pretty much entirely focus on things I enjoy, or I try and if I'm doing criticism, it's working towards the positive of it, more than just, this is bad, which a lot of arguments kind of go in circles that I dealt with, particularly when I was starting out in 2018. That was pretty much every show I went on was just talking in circles about the same points. And it's just not the greatest use of my time. And we only got so much time.
right, right. I think a lot of people are addicted to drama too, which is
Yes.
unfortunate.
Yes.
One question that we got from the chat: how about some background info about what made Cody get into comics, and specifically the Steel Cowboy?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, what got me into comics? So, of course, the number one like leading line I can always figure, and it's for most people, I would say, is children's books, right? Because it's that combination of illustration and narration, and sometimes dialogue. Of course, it's not always lettered in the way that comics are, but that's kind of like where I think the hooks of that combination, the sequential art, kind of get into people. So that would be like the start, right? But it's not the one that got me into it. So after that phase, you go and explore, you grow up and such. And during that period, I discovered Clayton Crane and Garth Ennis's Ghost Rider Road to Damnation. And Clayton Crane's digital artwork at that time was something I had never seen anywhere else. I grew up with a biker father. I was not used to, honestly, there wasn't very much coverage of that culture in there, and seeing Ghost Rider, the character design, again, Clayton Crane's take on him, where he would almost change every panel as the supernatural, mystical kind of feel to it. And then Garth Ennis's sass, that basically completely hooked me on comics for life. Then I jumped into Punisher Max, and that kept me hooked forever. And then I've just been exploring comics ever since, and I've just continuously fallen in love with them. So many different genres, from all ages books like Bone to, again, things like Punisher Max or Hellblazer, and then manga, of course, Berserk, Full Metal Alchemist. There's a lot of stuff. I love sequential art. What got me to create comics, again, was this: I needed to do something to kind of explore thoughts and ideas I was having as I was growing up, and understanding the human experience, human history, and all the weight, and trying to find your place in it, try to find your footing as a person, right? And so that's kind of where Jack comes from, and I think folks can kind of see that as they're reading it. There are parts of that, but Samurai Jack was a massive influence in it. Again, it's a individual trained by many cultures to oppose a great evil. Jack has that in him. He is an individual who has many cultures within him, opposing a great Lovecraftian kind of evil. But of course, The Man with No Name trilogy, RoboCop, all kinds of science fiction dystopia kind of feels. I mean, in 1984, there's a lot of Brazil. There's a lot of influences that go into Jack from a bunch of different genres. Wolverine, if we go back into comics, of course, a long-lived, grizzled character who tries to maintain some kind of heart, some kind of center. There's honestly, it was just a coping mechanism that I kept with. And then eventually there was a tragedy in my life that let me have basically just a couple $100. Again, I had no idea how much it cost to do comics when I was jumping in. I jumped in head first. I was just like, this is a medium I want to work in because I could see the potential in it. And I had written screenplays before and plays themselves, regular plays, and did short stories. And I wasn't a big fan of prose writing. I found it a lot of, I found myself wasting a lot of energy filling space, and with comics and with, again, more screenwriting types of stuff, you get to the point very quickly. And that's more satisfying to me as a writer. And poetry, I did a lot as well. I like flowery wording. And so, I had that little bit, and I said, you know what? I've had these scripts sitting for a while. It means a lot to me. I want to do something to honor this loss and to kind of, again, use Jack as a pathway forward. And so with that, I dove into looking for an artist, and that was a trip. Most of the first artists I spoke to kind of ghosted me because, again, I had no idea how much it costs to make a comic, and they wouldn't tell me, like, dude, that's not what it costs. So eventually, like, I got sick of the internet bit, and I'm in a pretty heavy artistic community up here where I am. And so I decided, you know what, let's see if I can meet somebody local and actually, you know, talk to somebody and at least learn that way. Because of face-to-face, it's a lot harder to just, you know, disappear on somebody. And so I did that, and I tried through Craigslist of all places. And the Argentinian artist, Maxi Dallo, he comes up through Santa Fe and up here, friends and family in both areas. And timing was just fortuitous, and he was looking for a gig. He is a couple years younger than me. And Argentina doesn't really have a comic book industry. They have a lot of wonderful, beautiful talents, but they don't have the business background down there. They don't have the again, the industry, the machines aren't built down there. And so he was working in children's illustration. He did storyboards for a production company up here. He did a bunch of random stuff, but he wanted to get into comics. And so we met, we kind of talked. I told him what the budget was. He didn't tell me it wouldn't work, which was kind of funny. I don't know if he just needed the cash at that point, or maybe I was one of his first gigs on that. And so he's like, this is an interesting concept, and I like this guy. I want to work with him. Whatever it may be, we've been working together since, and it's been just such a magical journey growing together on this. And since then, he's been published in heavy metal. He's been working on quite a few creator-owned projects in the indie scene, and he's been with Jack every step of the way. And he was the first real partner I've had in this journey. And since then, I eventually joined social media after trying to pitch it to publishers forever. And that's where I found, that's where a lot of our team members found us. And eventually, you know, they do fan art. Again, ironversecomics.com. Folks are kind of curious other people's takes. We have about 200 pieces of fan art up on ironversecomics.com if you want to check it out. I found a lot of amazing talents through there. So we've hired a lot of pinup artists through those processes. We met a colorist for our first issue, Matthias Laborde, who was working for Boom and IDW at that time, who sadly between issue 1 and 2 had to step away from comics because they just weren't paying him enough. And he needed to feed his family, so he went back to a corporate gig he had. And then we met Stephen Cannon through Instagram, if I remember right, who was our current colorist. We met our current letterer through there. And I've just been willing to adapt and grow because Jack is it's not a very selfish, personal kind of character. It's a very worldly, collaborative kind of character and project. So I've always made room for that energy to do the work it needs to do. And I've been grateful it continues to be able to when it's needed. I think it's not always plowed forward. It's not always been a crazy journey on the success end, but it has consistently been something people have found to have value to them. And for me, of course, it's been absolutely valuable to myself and my own personal journey and given me amazing gifts again and again.
No, that's awesome, man. I always love getting fan art myself.
Yes,
Make
yes,
entire
yes,
streams out of it because it's just
yes.
so cool. It makes you feel like you actually made an impression on someone, or at the very least made a character that they liked enough to draw.
Yes, exactly. We keep consistently get compliments on the character design because of the elements that it allows folks to explore. And of course, who doesn't like a grizzled old cowboy in some armor? It's a very unique kind of concept, and I'm just always so very humbled when people engage with the work.
Yeah, it is solid character design. I enjoyed.
Oh, good, 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 good.
All right, another question. Let's look at the chat. I wonder if there are any video games that Cody grew up with.
Oh well, yes, quite a bit. That was like the phase between children's books and comics, as my favorite medium, and still is. I still on our YouTube channel, I still do gaming streams just to be around and be available to the community. But and it helps justify spending that time as well, honestly. But so I mean, the first video game I remember playing was Pokemon Blue on cousin's Game Boy for a while, and then I played some N64 titles. First console I had was a Game Boy Advance, and I think it was a Pokemon Gold. I actually got with that, which is pretty fun. But specifically, like a big influence on Jack in particular was Red Dead Revolver from back in the day. That was my favorite game forever. I played with friends for hours. It had a split screen multiplayer deathmatch kind of mode that was a lot of fun, and its story was just the right mix of ridiculous camp and attitude that is just I fell in love with the writing and the characterization. It was Red was not quite the man with no name, but he was damn close, and it had all these wonderful tropes and presentation for how blocky and such it was, and so that was a big one. Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath is another Western game that has a bit of influence with Jack. But yeah, I mean, recently I've been playing West of Dead on stream. I try to keep things a little thematic if I can on the channel, and keep it to Western games when I can, but or at least science fiction or post-apocalyptic games. It's nice to have a blend of genres for that reason. Your brand can be a little bit wider, but
Yeah, catch some viewership and bring them over to your comic.
yes, exactly. That's always the hope. That's always the hope. It's rarely the result, but it's always the hope. It's honestly like directly another one that kind of inspired the Horsemen in particular was Darksiders. When I saw those character designs from Madeira. Joe Mad from Joe Mad. That was incredible, and I seen those being previewed in like Game Informer and such back in the day. That was a huge influence. Another one, franchise that became a massive influence, but I met through video games was Warhammer 40K. With the Dawn of War series on PC, that was a major, like, I love that game so much. And then when I fell in love with the science fiction, it is post-apocalyptic science fiction fantasy as well, of Warhammer 40K. You'll feel that influence if you're familiar with that franchise directly in how we started to build Ironverse comics with the Four Horsemen as pillars. There are not direct relations to the Gods of Chaos in that franchise, but there are definitely feelers from that and energies from that, where it's Lovecraftian creatures that are trying to break their way into reality and make reality themselves. And just the depth of lore that company was able to do, and just the stories they were able to tell was a consistent inspiration to me. It's how I got into wargaming and got into painting miniatures and all of that, and so that's been a consistent influence as well. But yeah, I mean, video games have been a kind of a consistent influence in the background for forever for me.
Oh, here's a good question. Does the comic have hot woman?
No, sir. I'm so sorry. So Maxie is very much his character designs are interesting. So they're not proportional. They're very stylistic, is I guess the best way to put it. So we do have a character that's kind of broken up in the background because some folks do want that level with our work, even though it's not an element that we tend to engage with. So you can get the Jackie Irons pinup. It's down at the bottom of the campaign if folks want to look at it, from Illustrator Monk. He's a well-known, not safe for work pinup artist, and he does some great, beautiful work. He did a piece from our last campaign that got on a printed metal card that went out to everybody internationally and of course domestically. It's if you want that little bit of sexy, that's where Jackie comes in, our gender bended steel cowgirl,
Oh,
as it
there we
were.
go.
Yeah. So there you
Jackie
go. That
Irons.
yes, so that's where you could get that. We definitely understand the desire for that, and uh, I totally do. But those thematics haven't found a place in our work just yet. We're dealing with things where that particular bit doesn't quite blend into what we're doing. But and I think that's what you were saying. In fact, is that I don't know if our fan bases will have much of a crossover, but let's try it. And I was very happy. I was like, oh, I don't care. I'm happy to talk to any comic creator who's got the passion, who's putting out work, and then who will give me a platform. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I do love Illustrator Monk's work.
Yes.
I will always consistently like all of his art pieces on Twitter.
Yes, he's incredible. He's a
It's
great cat too. Very professional. I hired about 3 pinup artists at the same time, and he delivered it the quickest. And even though he was dealing with some different kind of problems, I'm going to just say everybody last year had issues. I was no stranger to that as well. It was a very tough year for basically everyone. So I'm so grateful so many people have stuck with our insane little project here.
All right. I guess speaking of hot whammon, maybe I should pop up Orgasm Girl on the screen now.
Oh,
There we
yes,
go.
yes.
There we go, folks. It's
Oh,
just almost there. Just almost at the goal. Can we
92.
do it? Can we
Oh,
do
yes, you can. Yes, you can. Oh, it's wonderful. 180 backers. Quite incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Well, once again, going back to what I was saying before, I kind of expect like a drop of viewership after a while. Sometimes people just, back something just to support new creators, but they don't really hang on there for a long time. Plus, I actually decided not to do digital for this campaign. I decided to leave the digital
Oh.
for my website and just do
Oh.
strictly physical campaigns, which I feel like is fine, but
Oh,
people were
yeah, no,
still
absolutely.
upset.
Yeah, that's the bit, right?
It's
So
a
like
give and take.
I have a publisher and I've been trying to passively sell issues through them as well. And it just does not get the attention campaigns will, whether it's digital or physical. So it's always been kind of, it's a hard road to navigate for independent creators because somebody will say they want something and then they don't follow through when you deliver it. Some folks will not say they want something and then you don't know to deliver it. It's definitely tough, but I think that's a very decent idea. I've always personally found that it's just so easy to provide the digital, whether people want it or not, just because it exists, right? It exists long before the print. But it also, as you said, it's a great way to drive traffic to your personal site, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I also think, when the crowdfunding was first booming, people kind of would laugh at the idea of offering digital. But I think people are a lot more willing to get digital as the years go on. I've noticed like the people who read digital has just been going up and up and up.
Yes.
And it makes sense, especially with the pandemic. It makes sense because all the comic book shops were closed for a while and you basically had no choice but to get digital. And then once you're kind of used to reading it, it's not like a huge deal.
Oh, not at all. And it's usually a cheaper investment. And there's quite a few ways to deliver it. We try to do ours, DRM free, so you can just share it, copy it, do whatever you want with it. We need the personally, I believe in the word of mouth, so I don't really mind those kind of angles. Folks want to share the digital and somebody reads it. Hopefully we find another reader, right? But you never know. You never know. But the only way I was able to build any foothold was from digital. So we've always kind of honored that and kept that as like an entry point, just so that folks can check out what we're doing for no investment except for time, which is it's quite a valuable investment, but it's not time coupled to something else.
Right. Well, especially for international backers who like can't really get the physical because you're not offering it anymore to international, but you still want them to be able to read it. You still want them as a fan. So it's
Yes.
a good compromise to be like, well, you can get this digital because that won't cost me anything to send it to you. So it's perfect.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So, yes, we still got about like 15 minutes. Anything you want to talk
Excellent.
about? How's
Um,
life?
I mean, it's moving forward, right? I'm thinking for most everybody, it's a bit of insane times, and bring it back to the work because that's why I'm here. That's what we deal with a little bit in Jack. So folks are kind of curious how some kid from northern New Mexico has dealt with the times as they go on. Um, it's a good way to check that out. It's going to be a perspective not many folks have. Our issue number 2 predicted something that I didn't expect to predict. Our issue 3 predicted something personally I didn't expect to predict. So I don't know what issue number 4 is going to be, but we're dealing with the corporate machine quite directly. So maybe there's something in there that'll give you a chuckle as we walk through it, and it might be a morbid chuckle, but it might be a chuckle. It might be a chuckle. But life itself, I mean, it's going well. I can't complain. Last year was again really tough. Probably the hardest year of my life for multiple reasons. But I've survived those fires, and I'm here now talking with a wonderful person, shilling the work I love so very much. So I'd say I'm doing all right.
Yeah, everything's good. I've been like looking at your T-shirt for a while now, like trying to figure out, is that the logo?
Yes.
You should show it
Yes.
off. That's awesome.
Okay, let me see. Yes. So we do have merch on the website. I don't believe this specific T-shirt is. This is personal from a fan art piece that a buddy of mine did for us. But yeah, it's the logo. We do sell quite a few different shirts as well.
Sweet, man.
That's a piece from Bruce Patnod. Yeah. Yeah. So if folks are interested in merch too, of course, I'll always take merch sales. It's what, besides our Patreon, it's what keeps our site up. But yeah, we've got a lot of different options there. I am so proud to wear these things. Some folks are a little bit worried about wearing their own merch, and I get that.
Oh, puppy will get you all the backers.
Yes, she's been an extreme help so far. Yes, and then she'll take over a stream like right now, won't you? All right, Lena.
Steal the show.
Yes, she's good at that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Hi, Lena. Yes, and she's probably getting hungry is why. So she's sucking up for the food. Not yet, kiddo. Almost. But yeah. So I mean, I'm very proud of our work. I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. So I try and do that with our stuff. Try and wear it, try and chill it, and it's an extra level of branding. Yeah. We even do sell pet bandanas with our artwork on it. If you if you want that. Yes, we do.
Oh, that's a perfect plug. When you got the dog up there, he's like, pet bandanas.
Yes.
They're not wearing one.
Yeah, that's the other big bit. Is she gets to help me at my actual work too, which is nice. She's carried me through a few years now. She's only about, I guess she's hitting 3 this year, aren't you, girl? This is Miss Alita. This is my little Alita girl. Yes, I know you're hungry. Yes. Oh, okay, you. Hey.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I always prefer T-shirt merch the most because I always need more T-shirts.
Oh, who doesn't, right? Who doesn't?
Yeah, it's so true. We got a question. Who's your favorite comic book artist? That's a difficult question.
Oh, there's so many. Well, so of course I got to be biased. It's Maxi Dallo. He's the guy I'm working with, and I just adore everything he delivers. But that's more personal. So let's take that. Let's push that aside. Clayton Crane would come next because he brought me in. I don't think he works in comics anymore, which is I think he got disillusioned with the industry, and maybe he gets paid to do a lot of really good comic artists like dip their toes in. They do something really good, and then they leave for like gaming studios and concept art and places where they are paid better. So we lose a lot of folks like that. And I think that's what happened with Clayton Crane, which is sad because he would be like a dream to work with. There's a lot of Punisher artists I've really enjoyed over the years as well. What was his name? I got the issue up there. Opeña. I really like Jerome Opeña. He did an issue, the first issue of Punisher Dark Reign, where Frank's up against the Sentry, and that whole issue, how it was delivered to see Frank versus basically a Superman, was just it was so fun. That's probably my favorite single issue of comics I've ever read. But Kentaro Miura is a big one. Rest in peace. If we're including manga, there's in Punisher artists as well. Goran Parlov. I love his kind of sketchy style. James Heron, I really appreciate, and so does Maxie. You can see a lot of those influences in Maxie's work. Daniel Warren Johnson, I really appreciate from a lot of different angles, how he approaches his social media, how he approaches the work and the work he does. I'm also a massive, I came from doing metal was the other thing. Before I went into comics, I was a metal bassist for a good chunk of time. So I got some resonance with Daniel Warren Johnson. And again, we get a lot of people comparing Maxie's work to that, which I find extremely flattering because he's an incredible artist. So those are a few. I'm sure I'm missing quite a few because there's just so many comics. People think it's kind of small, but so many people have poured their heart and soul into the industry, and you can always find something that just blows you away. If you're looking in the back catalog or you're looking at the indie creators today, you will find something that will reach you. And I'm so grateful for that, for this industry. And this medium is a better word, because the industry a little less so, but this medium.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many different styles you can find out there too. If we're talking about like indie stuff, there was this one artist that I like completely fell in love with the art for. I think it was Charlie Snogans. I think he's the one who was doing Clint's new book, or new. You know, it's like 2 years old now, but it's what was that? I can't even remember what it's called. I backed it so long ago.
Not Downcast.
It's Fatal. Fatal.
Yes.
Fatal.
Beautiful work. Definitely. I love
Yes,
it. It was kind of a painterly watercolor style on top of those very tight lines. Yeah, very gorgeous. Yeah, very much so.
Yes. I completely only backed that just because of the art. Because I wanted to see more of his art.
Yes.
But it looks good. Maybe one day when I get it, it will be good.
Yeah, right. He's working on it.
They're working on it. All right. You can't say I blame him for being disillusioned. In response to your
yeah.
Yeah,
neither do I, and especially if you can, make a better buck doing less work, then yeah, I get it. Some folks really, they're like mangaka, they will give themselves to the medium and they'll work themselves to death and get nothing out of it. So I don't blame people for doing that. Some people do it out of love and passion. Some people do it because comics is what they know. Some people are, they're artists first and foremost. So however they can make a paycheck out of doing that, they're happy to do. And if they can find a better way, good on them. I wish the industry in particular could support those levels of talents at a greater rate, because we'd get some amazing things out of them.
Yeah, it's definitely brutal. A lot of people who do comics, they really just do it as a side gig because it just doesn't make enough.
Nope, it doesn't.
Yeah, can't make it their permanent job. But they do it because they love what they do.
Yes, and that's why I do it. It's definitely not. It's very much a hobby for me. We pay our artists definitely well enough to keep on it and keep doing what they're doing. Most of our teams are in one way or another doing. Teammates are doing comics full time. Myself, I do it as a hobby and because I love it and I have a story to tell. Definitely not a profitable gig for most.
Just playing with you.
Yes. You probably hear the growling because that's what she does.
Big tough girl.
Yes, that she is. I named her aptly. She demands my attention. But appreciate chat. Enjoying this dogfight here.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it myself.
Oh, good. All right. There you go, Kim. There you go. See, she's earning her keep. Yeah. All right. Yes. Settle. Are you going to settle? Do I just have to ignore you? You won't let me. Huh? Yeah, I'm guessing she's hungry.
Yeah, she's so hungry.
It's about dinner time. Yes, I think she's dinner time. I've been doing so much of this lately too. She's probably feeling left out.
No.
Probably feeling left out.
Well, you can always be a part of the stream, Alita.
Part of the vibe. Yes, indeed, huh, kiddo? Yeah, there you go. So you calm down. Good girl. Yeah, I love you too. There you go.
Puppy's always welcome.
Yes.
All right, we got like 6 more minutes, so I guess maybe
Alright.
closing remarks. That's a way to describe it.
Yes. So the number one thing I always want to do is express my gratitude for the time and effort of the wonderful host. So thank you so much for having me,
No problem.
platforming this project. Again, it's a very I'll use the term again, esoteric kind of project. It's hard to sell on its own. Outside of its own merits, it's something that I think needs to be experienced to really understand the quality and what we're doing. But you can understand, hopefully, my passion and my team's passion for it, because it's there on the page, but also hopefully it was here. And if folks are interested, always or have any questions, you can always contact me. IronverseComics.com has all the contact information. We're on pretty much all the social media, so you can find us there. I do nearly, especially during these campaigns, near daily live streams on Ironverse Comics, the YouTube channel. If folks are interested in to engage there and ask me direct questions, or you find anything like that, or just, say howdy, I'm always appreciative of that. And honestly, I think this is something that could speak to a lot of people, even if they don't think it can right off the bat. So again, just check it out. If the art style intrigues you, hopefully the storytelling will get you hooked and you'll see what we're trying to do. And it is something you will not find anywhere else. It's a very unique project. It's something that you'd never find being pushed out by even independent labels. This is very much a creator owned passion project with a very specific direction to to be led to.
Yeah, we do have both very different comics running at the same time right now. So hopefully we can just like do a spread shot and hit all sorts of different audiences at once. We got the cool sci-fi cowboy, Jack Irons. If you're into immortal cowboys.
Yes.
Something's wrong with my mouth. And this is the way to go. And if perhaps you are into, man, I really got to do this, learn how to do this faster. The sexy superheroes, perhaps this is the way you want to go.
There you go. And hey, hopefully you're into both and feel like supporting both. That would be the best option. It is always the best time to support independent creators, because it's the only way we get to do what we're doing.
Oh yeah, very true. And we all got to look out for each other in the end.
Yes.
She got her toy.
Yes, she brought it to me. She knows what she wants.
Aw, there you go. Cute puppy will save the stream.
Yes, always will. Always will.
Oh boy.
So yeah, thank you so much, Chad. Again, get a hold of me if you have any questions, because again, I don't know if I'm always the best communicator on what we're doing here. I'm hoping the art does a good chunk of that. But yeah, I'm always interested to engage the comic fandom. Some people aren't so happy to do that these days, and I'm certainly not one of those folks.
Oh yeah, very true. If you don't think so, guess what? Chainsaw Man started out independent. Is that true?
There you go.
I know One Punch Man started out as a webcomic. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Chainsaw Man started out as independent.
That I didn't know. I knew One Punch Man because of his quite interesting line art. His dedication was definitely there. And then they saw it, they loved the story, and they're like, here's a better artist. And then it just exploded. But that original art is so charming in its way. You could tell it's just somebody who had a story to tell and needed to tell it. And I think that's the best part, and it's the heart of independent creation, period, is that they have something to say, and you're going to scream it out into the world, whether somebody hears it or not. And you're very hopeful that somebody does and enjoys it.
Yeah, and One in general is just like a pretty solid writer. Mob Psycho 100 is probably my favorite anime. I dig it.
There you go.
Yeah. One is bad at drawing, but we love the story. Very true. Very true. That's how a lot of people start. They have all the motivation to write, but they don't have the skill of the art yet. And sometimes you got to pair up with somebody else who can compensate for your lack of skill. And then you got a real killer series.
Yes, and I'm hoping I can say that about mine because my original drawings of Jack are, I would say one was quite a bit better.
Yeah, very, very true. I'm pretty amateur as far as the art goes, but I feel like when I get better or good enough, then I'll probably do a campaign with my own art style. Till then,
Oh,
I'll try to find
yeah.
artists that can match what I'm going for.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on the live stream,
Thank
both
you for
you
having
and
me. Thank
Leo.
you, chat, for listening to me, John.
Yeah. And everyone in chat, go back Jack Irons, go back Orgasm Girl 2, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you all for watching.